Red Hawk Media. Today we're talking about banners, web banners, and we're going to work on these to customize the size of the web banner. We're going to look at creating gradients on a banner and using some text effects on a banner as well. And we're going to do all that in Photoshop. So let's begin. I found a website that's particularly useful called Web Banner Sizes, and it's one of many that are out there. They have a lot of estimates on different banner sizes. Some would make claims that banners are standardized, but at the end of the day, it really revolves around what your website is going to look like and the kind of the theme that you're working with and the look that you're going for. Okay, if we take our example here with the full banner, it says that the pixel size is 468 by 60. Okay, so that's the one that we're going to go ahead and try and see what that looks like here. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way. And I've already opened up Photoshop and I've started a new document. And I've already typed in 468 by 60 for the height, 72 on the resolution, and then of course it's completely your choice on white or transparent. Let's go with white and OK. All right, here's my web banner. It's not entirely very big, but we got a little space to work with, just enough to maybe get a logo in here. So I'm going to go ahead and first get some text in there, get that sized, and then we'll talk about some of the other stuff going on here. And with our text tool, I'll go ahead and select our area, get our font in here. We got black for our color for the font, and here we go. Red Hawk Media, pretty small. Let's go ahead and blow that up. So I just double-clicked on it to select all of it. I'm going to go ahead and blow up the font size. Anything that you want to do with the font is always at the top whenever the text tool is selected. So let's say I want to go with 18. We can go a lot larger than that. Get it as close to the size as you want to work with so that the font maintains its integrity. If you stretch fonts way too much, then you start ending up with a situation where they get pixely and they don't work as well. So that's pretty good. We got 60 point there. Red Hawk Media is going to be the focus. And now let's go ahead and move that so that we can get that kind of lined up. And right there. Now we're going to do some subtle text effects. This is a little bit of review from the last tutorial that you looked at. We're going to go into the blending options. So we can double click on the layer. Let me bring this over so it's a little bit closer to home. Double click on the layer. And we've got all these different layer styles that we can do. So we're going to kind of drag this around so we can see what's going on. The first one is a drop shadow. We can go ahead and add that on. That's the standard drop shadow. Of course, we can change the size, the opacity, and all that so it's nice and faint in the background. I kind of like that. That's kind of neat. Okay, so we've got that. Now, that's the overall layer opacity. If you want to adjust the font or the drop shadow on the text, you got to click on the tab that says drop shadow. Now I can take the opacity of that down a little bit. I can adjust the angle so it shows up different places. That looks kind of cool. All right, and then the distance that it is away from the text, you can see that happening. Okay, and then the spread will be how thick or dark it is, basically. And then the size, like, do you want it to be obnoxiously big glow, or do you want it just to be a little sharp shadow here, like what we had before? Not too bad. All right, and then we've got all these other features, which we talked about yesterday. The one that wasn't really covered a whole lot would be gradient overlay. Gradient overlay will take and put a gradient over your text. And the standard one that automatically pops up is this ugly black and white one. Okay, and what we didn't get into for details is how we can edit that. So here's my gradient editor. All I did was I double-clicked, just to explain this, cancel that. I double-clicked on the gradient bar here, and that brings up some options. So I can have a gradient that goes from black to transparent. We can do a lot of the preset ones here. If they happen to fit your color schema, you can do that. I'm going to go back to the one that we are on, but I'm going to change the stops. So this is what we call our stop. This is how you can adjust the look of it. So if I want more black on the gradient, I drag that over. If I want more white, drag that over, and you get kind of the idea. Now, if I happen to not want those colors at all, maybe I don't want the white in here. Maybe I do want the white in here. I'm going to hold Shift Alt or Shift Option. I'm going to drag a new anchor point out from the other one, and I'm going to add in a new color here. School colors, red, white, black. Okay. Actually, it's more of a gray, but with a gradient it'll work out here. We've got that for our new stop here. I click OK to accept the color. Now I can drag this so I get a little bit more red in here. I could take it over so I've got less black in there, right? We're going to make it look so that it's kind of like a reflection here. So it's just a real thin line in the middle. And drag this over right there. Let's bring it down so it's underneath the E's so it looks up decent. And bring that in a little bit more. And that in a bit more. There we go. Not too bad. Okay, so I just customized the gradient. Again, if I want to add more stops in, I can click Shift Option, and then I can drag the stop over to create a new one. Okay, so now that I've got my text somewhat customized, here's the part that I really want to take the time to focus on here. I'm going to click OK to accept all of this. And now we've been using our selection tools to do a lot of different things. Mostly what they've been used for is to cut things out or just select items to copy. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a new layer. And on this layer, I want to say, okay, I want to start customizing my actual background. So I just grab my marquee selection tool and I'm selecting the whole background. So now I've got my selection made. I'm going to go ahead and use the gradient tool to make this work. The gradient tool, I'm going to not use it in the blending options. This time I'm going to actually use it on the toolbar. Sometimes it is hidden under the paint bucket here. Hold your button down on the paint bucket so that the gradient shows up. Gradient tool. And now I can see my gradient is already set up here. Same thing. I can click on this to pick the gradient style that I want. Okay, and I can change this up to whatever we need. Okay, and right now, that's what we've got. We can choose the direction. Do we want this to be up and down, horizontal, straight across? I'm going to go with horizontal like this. And I go ahead and I drag my gradient. So with the gradient tool, you get this little plus sign. And you can select where you want to drag the gradient. Now, if you want it perfectly straight, here's the thing. After you click, hold Shift. And now, no matter what I try to do, it will only snap to 45-degree angles. Okay, or 15-degree angles. And straight up and down. So I hold that. There's my gradient. Now I've got that set up. I can still customize the gradient while it's selected. So I can go up here, customize it a little bit more. Let's say I want another stop that's in here. We hold Shift, Option, drag another stop in. Let's go ahead and add the color in. Let's say we're going to make it black on the edges, and OK. And now, very easily, we click OK again. And now I can customize that. Start at the top, hold Shift so it's a nice straight line. Boom. I got my new gradient. Obviously, this layer is on top of the other one, so I take that and I drag it behind. And now I've got a little bit of a banner going on here. Now that's a little bit busy. It's kind of crazy. It's almost hard to read here, so you might want to change up your colors. The big thing is readability, and of course it's got to blend in with your theme. So for today, the main focus is create a web banner using the gradient tools, text effects like we practiced yesterday on our tutorial, and try to use that custom size to make it fit your web theme. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for joining us. It's been another episode of Red Hawk Media.